She's inside again, the HOA president shouted as she pointed toward my backyard. Call the police, now. We finally caught him. I looked up from my garden and saw 3 HOA board members standing behind my fence with their phones raised. One of them smiled like she had just won a prize. Another held a folder full of printed photos. What are you doing on my property? I asked. The HOA president laughed. Your property? We've been watching this place for weeks. We know everything you do. My stomach dropped. She opened the folder and threw several pictures onto my porch. They showed me grilling with my daughter, unloading groceries, even sitting alone on my back deck late at night. Someone had been spying on my family. My 12-year-old daughter stepped outside, saw the pictures, and quietly grabbed my arm. Dad, who took those? I didn't answer because I honestly didn't know. The HOA president folded her arms. You broke community rules many times. We finally have proof. I picked up the photos one by one. None of them showed any rule being broken. They were simply pictures of my family living our normal life. You crossed my fence to take these? I asked. She smiled without a bit of shame. We don't need your permission. As HOA president, I can inspect anything that affects the neighborhood. One of her board members nodded like it was completely normal. I pulled out my phone. Good, she said. Record this. The police will want your confession. Instead, I called my attorney. The smile on her face disappeared for just a second, then came right back. Call whoever you want, she said. By tonight, you'll wish you never moved into this neighborhood. She sounded too confident, almost like she already knew what would happen next. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just about HOA rules. This had been planned long before my family ever unpacked our first box. And the biggest mistake the HOA president made was believing she was the only one who had been recording everything. The police arrived faster than I expected. The HOA president walked toward them before I could even speak. Officer, this homeowner has been breaking HOA rules for months, she said. We have photos, witness statements, and everything you need. She handed over the folder with a proud smile. The officer looked through the pictures without saying a word. His partner glanced at my fence, then at the camera mounted under my roof. Sir, the officer asked me, would you like to tell us your side? Before I answered, the HOA president cut me off. He'll make up excuses. That's what people do when they get caught. I stayed calm. My family has done nothing wrong, I said. But I do have one question. Who gave them permission to enter my backyard? The officers looked at each other. The HOA president quickly changed her story. We didn't actually go inside. We took the pictures from public areas. I quietly held up one photo. It showed the small table behind my shed, a place completely hidden from the street. The officer frowned. You couldn't have taken this from outside, he said. For the first time, the HOA president looked nervous. One of her board members suddenly spoke. She told us it was legal. The president turned around so fast it almost looked painful. Be quiet, she whispered. But everyone heard it. Then my attorney arrived. He didn't waste a second. He walked straight to the officers, handed them a folder, and said, Before anyone accuses my client of anything, you should know this neighborhood has a history. The HOA president laughed. Oh, please. Nice try? My attorney opened the folder. These are written complaints from other homeowners. Every one of them says the HOA president secretly entered private property without permission. The officer slowly flipped through the pages. The smile on the HOA president's face became smaller with every page. Then my attorney said something that made the entire board freeze. And there's one more thing. My client didn't install security cameras because he was afraid of thieves. He looked directly at the HOA president. He installed them because someone warned him months ago that this exact woman had done this before. The HOA president's face turned pale. She whispered almost to herself. Who told him? I looked her straight in the eyes. You're about to find out. At that exact moment, a black SUV stopped in front of the house. And the person stepping out was someone the HOA president never expected to see. The HOA president stared at the black SUV as the driver's door opened. A woman in a navy suit stepped out carrying a leather case. She walked with quiet confidence, and she didn't look at anyone except me. "Sorry I'm late," she said. "Traffic." The HOA president forced a laugh. "And who are you supposed to be?" The woman ignored her and handed me the case. "Everything is here." I opened it and took out a small hard drive. The HOA president's smile disappeared. "What is that?" she asked. "My security recordings," I replied. She crossed her arms. "Those cameras only point at your house." "They do," I said. "That's all they need to do." The officers watched as I connected the hard drive to a laptop my attorney had brought. The first video appeared. It showed the HOA president climbing over my side fence just after midnight. Nobody spoke. The next clip started. She wasn't alone. 2 board members followed her into my backyard with flashlights. One of them opened my storage box while another took pictures through my kitchen window. The officer paused the video. "Is this date correct?" My attorney nodded. "It matches the camera records." The HOA president shook her head. "This is fake." He edited it. Before anyone could answer, another video started by itself. This time the sound was clear. "Take more pictures," the OA president whispered in the recording. "We'll say we found code violations during an inspection." One board member asked, "What if he finds out?" She laughed. "He won't. And even if he does, the HOA always wins." The yard became completely silent. The same board member who had stood beside her all morning slowly stepped away. I didn't know she kept that part," he said quietly. The officer closed the laptop. "Ma'am," he said to the HOA president, "I suggest you stop talking until we sort this out." For the first time all day, she had nothing to say. Then her phone rang. She looked at the screen, and every bit of color left her face. She tried to decline the call. My attorney smiled. "You should answer it." "Why?" she whispered. "Because that's the president of the HOA board's insurance company." She froze. "They've just seen the same videos." Her hand began to shake. But none of us knew that the phone call was only the beginning. Less than 5 minutes later, another vehicle pulled into the neighborhood. And the people inside weren't there because of the HOA at all. The second vehicle was a plain white SUV, too. Investigators stepped out with badges around their necks. They walked straight past everyone and asked one question: "Who is the HOA president?" She slowly raised her hand. One investigator opened a folder. "We've received several complaints from homeowners over the last year. Until today, we didn't have enough proof. Now we do." She tried to smile. "This is all a misunderstanding." The investigator shook his head. "No, ma'am. Entering private property, recording families without permission, creating false violation reports, and using your position to threaten homeowners are not misunderstandings." The officers placed her phone and HOA files into evidence bags. One board member couldn't stay quiet anymore. "She made us do it," he said. She said anyone who questioned her would be fined or removed from the board. Another member nodded. "She even told us to hide records before the annual meeting." The investigators looked at each other. "That explains the missing documents." Within minutes, the HOA president was told she was under investigation. She wasn't handcuffed right away, but she was no longer in control. The same woman who had acted like she owned the neighborhood now stood alone while every board member stepped away from her. The next few weeks changed everything. More homeowners came forward. Security videos from other houses matched mine. Old emails showed fake violations had been created just to pressure families into paying fines. Financial records revealed HOA money had been spent on private trips, expensive dinners, and personal shopping. Every new piece of evidence made the case stronger. The court removed her from the HOA board. She was ordered to pay thousands of dollars in damages to several homeowners. Criminal charges followed for trespassing, illegal surveillance, and filing false reports. The rest of the board was replaced through a special community election. At the first meeting, one neighbor stood up and looked at me. "You were the only person who didn't give up," he said. Because of you, all of us got our neighborhood back. I smiled. I didn't do it alone. The truth did. A few months later, children were riding bikes again. Families gathered outside without looking over their shoulders. My daughter sat on our back porch and laughed like she used to before all this started. She looked at me and asked, "Dad, do you think they'll ever spy on us again?" I looked at the camera still hanging under the roof. "No," I said. "Not because of the camera, but because everyone finally knows the truth. Sometimes the biggest mistake a bully makes is believing nobody is watching." She thought she was building a case against one family. Instead, she built the case that ended her own power.